I have an important announcement to make. I have no idea if this changes a slide or sets off a rocket ship, so I really would love everybody's attention as we get going. I'm a little nervous to press the next button. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Piscitelli, Senior Associate Athletic Director, part of the Deacon Club staff, former student athlete, track and field, 2005 graduate, and I could not be more honored to be up here this morning to celebrate our student athletes, our athletic endowment donors, and just this Wake Forest community. When you think about Wake Forest, words like relationships and connection and community are often said, and there is no doubt by looking around this room that that is so true. So without further ado, I'm going to show you a video here that Mitch and his team has put together, and we hope you enjoy. I did press the button.
At Wake Forest, it's our goal to provide a world-class student-athlete experience. The gifts we receive for student-athlete scholarships provide the opportunity for us to not only achieve this goal, but continue to elevate the experience and strive forward. We're extremely proud to witness the success of our young men and women, both academically and athletically, as student-athletes at Wake Forest. As always, thank you for your continued support of the Demon Deacons and our mission of providing a world-class student-athlete experience. Go Deacs!
Y'all, as you know, and you see these often through our leadership of Dr. Susan Wente and Athletic Director John Curry, that we have a vision here at Wake Forest and that we have goals here at Wake Forest to be a model intercollegiate athletic program. And that doesn't happen with just one person. It happens with all of us collectively. And I want to take a moment to just reflect on how this day came to be. And I'd love to ask the Deacon Club calling officers and Deacon Club representatives, Alan, Jared, Paul, Bill, Kevin, Noel, Chris Gray, just to stand for a moment. Y'all, Gerard, you too. Barry, forgot a few people. Y'all, these folks are so passionate and energized by not only our student athletes in the room, but by the supporters that they work with. And we are so pleased to know that you value what they value and live that out on a daily basis. I'd also like to thank our donor experience team of April Bass, Nicole Adams, Allison Edwards, our slew of interns who have been running around for the last couple of days. Tremendous job. Y'all, I don't know if you realize this, but this is about 100 people more than we have ever had at this event. Like if this was on StubHub, it'd be like a pretty good ticket to have. Okay, I'm looking for cheap laughs early. Y'all, but seriously, there's one person, I'd love for him to stand up again, Alan Ashworth. Y'all, this is our 11th scholarship brunch and celebration. That's right around when Alan got engaged in our Deacon Club team. And for the last decade plus, he has done nothing but wake up every morning thinking about how he can make Wake Forest better. And he was on us to make sure people showed up this Saturday. And Alan, your dedication to this and the inspiration you give to our fellow team, to the donors in the room, and what you do to serve our student athletes, coaches, and university is tremendous. Thank you very much. Y'all, I just want to go over here as we look to some more things about the day. We're going to call up a very special Wake Forest family here shortly after we cover a few things. But Carl Linda Tucker here is Deacon Club Family of the Year, which we are thrilled to honor. We're going to have a panel discussion with Kaya Hanks, David Weaver, Janice Story, and Bruce Ballard to learn a little bit more about the athletic scholarship process, how it works, why folks are motivated to be engaged and involved with it, and ultimately the impact that it has on the lives of our student athletes, our recent alums, and our donors. So we're thrilled about it. Kaya, that's when we present the Traveled the Furthest Award since you're from Hawaii. We figured we might as well get that done as well. And then we'll be joined by Athletic Director John Curry shortly. Y'all, this day, right, so we have goals. We talked about it, Model Intercollegiate Athletic Program. So I'm recycling some old stuff from last year. So first time, great. Second time, sorry about that. But I would love, in the spirit of connecting, to pull out your phones. We're going to talk about celebrate in a minute. So on the screens, and then inside the brochure, you'll see a QR code for the Wake Network. All right? Our Wake Network for our student athletes in the room. This is like LinkedIn on steroids for you, okay? And I know I check compliance. I'm allowed to say that. The reality is our Wake Forest alumni, parents, and friends are waiting to connect with you. So as you log into that Wake Network and take the time to do it, if you haven't been before, it's pretty easy to sign into. For our student athletes in the room, this is when we talk to you about, it's not the next 4 years, it's the next 40 plus. This is where some of that rubber meets the road. I can't tell you, and obviously you could see by this space in this room, there's folks that care about you that have never met you before. So for you to start to think about who you want to be around, who you want to connect with, who's your next mentor in life, you could start right here. Start at these tables as we connect, but then go beyond that as you start to explore different things within the alumni base and the friends of Wake Forest. For our donors in the room, you're looking for that long-lost roommate, or maybe a friend from around the block that flies a Wake Forest flag and you can't figure out who they really are or what their last name is. This might be the spot for you. In addition to that, it's also a great way to see what your philanthropy has been, to tell your journey since graduation of what engagement has looked like, and especially your athletic endowment and scholarship engagement. It's where our student athletes who write letters to you each and every year, who correspond with you, it's all housed in one spot. So for those of you that have begun that journey of having an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarship on the university side, this is the place. This is your one stop to see how your scholarship has been performing in its portfolio with the endowment office, to see other investments and support you've made to Wake Forest. But ultimately, there's the proof. There's the names of the students whose lives you've changed. What a great way to be able to connect right then and there and start that relationship up. You're going to hear from our panelists a little bit later. There's been a little delay sometimes in gratitude, but at the end of the day, there's never been a loss of being thankful. So y'all, I encourage you, if not now, at some point, keep that brochure or open that link and use Wake Network. It's something that we want to continue to talk about, continue to encourage you to use, and I really do think there's a ton of value in it for both our students and our supporters. Y'all, here you go. Keep that phone out before we're going to do a lot of table talk, but for right now, one more thing, and you should also have a brochure. We're going to walk through a little bit of how we've been doing with our athletic endowment program, but our Forever Deeks. So what's a Forever Deek? Forever Deek is someone with an athletic scholarship, someone who's given a program endowment, or someone who has made that generous and transformational thought about having Wake Forest in their estate. And so how have we been doing, right? We've been making some progress. Talked about Alan 10 years ago. Alan, where were we at?
35.
About 35 million. And right now, as you can see from here, which I can't, but it's about 80 million, right? So there's been a lot of support from folks in this room and folks afar to invest in our Wake Forest students and the student athletes and the experience they have here, right? So in addition to that, right now, to go to Wake Forest and for our athletic department and university to invest in our student athletes, there's about $18 million that needs to be raised or come up with to provide for the education of our 400 plus students. That's a big number. And to endow that number is even larger. But Alan, how are we doing on that? We got some work to do, right? But if we think about where we are and where we want to be, it starts today, and it starts with these conversations and these connections and the excitement that we have. Y'all, right now, that the endowment value that we have, right around, I guess, 80 million or so, produces approximately about $4 million on an annual basis to help with that 18 million that we're trying to cover. So over time, there's going to be a moment where we have this lunch, we have this brunch, and we're going to be celebrating, even more about how much coverage we have for our athletic endowment and our program. Y'all, here's something else, and this slide's already out of date as of about 12 hours ago, which I'm really excited about. As we think about connecting and we think about what we're trying to do here and celebrating, and Alan mentioned some work that has to be done, here's what we have a goal of, and we have some board of directors folks in the room and athletic advisory council folks in the room. Here's what we're striving for in the immediate future, right? Before we get to that big number that that we know will really help the institution, help the athletic department continue to excel. We're looking for one-to-one connection, right? So one student athlete to one endowed donor. And what you see up on the slide and what you should see in the brochure is where we have left to go to be able to make that happen, right? So you can see for baseball, there's 9. For women's basketball, I'm proud to share that's going to be 0 the next time we run this slide as of yesterday with some really special supporters in the room. Through field hockey, soccer, all the way through, that's what it's going to take still to get to our 1-to-1 ratio. And I believe we can do it, and I think we can have a lot of fun along the way. Y'all, as we think about Wake Forest and we think about how much it means to us, this day is one of those days that we truly get to celebrate. These student athletes work hard. They work hard, and they work hard to represent Wake Forest on a national scene, on an international scene. And in the same light, you all at the table who have been supporters and donors and passionate followers, you work hard as well. You work hard to provide this experience. And we are so grateful as a staff and as an institution for what each of you do here. So I want to celebrate some of our newly created scholarships, right? So hopefully this will be seen as some inspiration. So over the last time, since we've last met, we've had this many scholarships newly created. Many of you are in the room, but there's one in particular I'd like to ask to stand. That's Coach Jen Averill. Coach? So Coach did not fund her own scholarship. I'm going to go ahead and let you all know. This past fall, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of our three-peat national champion teams, which Coach led our Demon Deacons to. And we had an unbelievable crowd back for that and celebrated. And unbeknownst to her, because if she knew, this would not have happened, a scholarship was created in her honor from past parents, from current students and former student athletes and administration to honor Coach. So when you look back at that list, some of those folks on that list are teammates who came together, like Kay Anderley, Ann Jacobs, and Donna Schoutmer, to create a women's tennis scholarship. Some of them are Wake Forest graduates, like the Courts family. Some are folks who have had a 50-plus year tradition and relationship with Wake Forest, like the Arnold Palmer Foundation. And I know our golf programs are here today, and you all, as student athletes, have done a tremendous job getting to know Amy Saunders and the Palmer family, which has been tremendous and rewarding for I know you all, but also for them. So when we talk about work being done, we're always chipping away at it. And there's a lot of opportunity here for us to continue to impact Wake. Y'all, as we get and kind of move on, because I know everybody's a little hungry, and for those of you who know, this is not a buffet this year, but there are second plates available, okay? I would love to call Barry Faircloth, our Executive Senior Associate Athletic Director, to talk about our Deacon Club Member of the Year and celebrate the Tucker family. Barry.
Thank you, Mike. Mike's a true pro. I tell you, Wake Forest is lucky to have Mike Piscatelli on this team. So, Mike, thank you. You know, as I look out on this amazing group of athletes, coaches, and supporters, it is just with extreme gratitude and appreciation that we have. We have come a long way in our facilities, and our scholarships, and our excellence funds, and our estate giving that you just saw. Progress towards NIL, the In Her Wake campaign. It is amazing that the collective support of everyone in this room and what we have done. I tell you, I received countless people who call and who are excited, if not amazed, about how Wake Forest continues to progress into what is unquestionably a model intercollegiate athletics program, and that others are trying to emulate and is the envy of college sports right now. And to this point, I received a call last week from somebody I'd like to recognize. If the Honorable Ralph Walker could please stand up. So we get a lot of calls, our staff, and it's, you know, a lot of times it's the traffic was bad or the hot dog was cold or my ticket was kind of misplaced, and please call on those things. We really appreciate that, and we will get those problems worked out, and hopefully we do. But Ralph Walker has been a Wake Forest supporter for 70 years, right? Superior Court judge out of Greensboro, a distinguished career in the legal profession. And Ralph, if you would just share with this group what you said to me on the phone, it meant a lot. So I don't know if anybody gave him a microphone. Does anybody have a microphone they can give him? April, where are you?
I think you can hear me.
All right.
A couple shout outs. First of all, Scott Casey and Marge Chris put women on the map at Wake Forest. And who our current AD, John, is he John here?
He will be here.
Be here.
He's working on an interview right now.
In 70 years, Wake Forest athletics is the highest in my 70 years right now. In 60 years ago, Duke came to Wake Forest at Joel, and they were ranked. Jackie Murdoch took over after Bones McKinney left, go to the Panthers or whatever. No, not Panthers. Anyway, we were having just a so-called season. We beat Duke 90 to 85, if I recall, and the rafters almost came down. Today, I'm expecting the same thing to happen today.
Amen.
Shout out to my wife Charlotte, who in all of the years, taking care of my son, allowed me to come to sports events at Wake Forest. It's been a great run.
Hey, it's not over. Thank you, Mr. Walker. That call meant a lot to me, and 70 years, that's a long time to be at the pinnacle right now of what Wake Forest is, so we have a lot to be proud of. It is my distinct honor to award the Deacon Club Member of the Year. You know, in this profession, we are lucky enough to do this job, and I pinch myself each and every day that I'm able to get to know the families, such as all the ones that are represented here today. And it's really difficult to single out one family because we have so many generous people and involved donors. But sometimes we get the spreadsheet and we sort it by largest gift amount, and it becomes pretty easy, right? And Carl and Linda Tucker were right out the top this past year. And so today I'd like to recognize Carl and Linda Tucker as our Deacon Club Members of the Year. If Carl and Linda, if you could come up front, please. So as they're walking up, for over 5 decades, Carl and Linda and their 4 sons have supported Wake Forest. The Tucker family has endowed a scholarship. Carl has served as the president of the Deacon Club Board of Directors, and they have contributed generously to every capital project, and most recently provided the naming gift for the Student Athlete Services area and its renovation. And Jane Caldwell, I think Jane is here. She is really happy right now because that second floor of the Miller Center will be, pending approval, start construction this summer to renovate and really transform the heart of the academic services unit at Wake Forest, and it will bear the Tucker family name. Last year, Carl was also awarded the Pete Moffitt Courage Award for his amazing courage in his fight with multiple cancers. And just earlier today, he said he had a clean scan. He played 36 holes of golf a couple weekends ago. And I've enjoyed many lunches at the Tucker family home where Linda, a UNCG home economics graduate, is the consummate professional mother and has welcomed me into her family and made me feel just like another one of her sons. Carl and Linda, thanks for everything you have done, will continue to do for, and what you will continue to do for Wake Forest, and for allowing me to be a part of your family. Go Deacs. was going to say something.
Aren't we all fortunate? Thank you.
He said he wasn't going to say something. So, I'd now like to bring up Michael Kern. So, Michael Kern is going to say our invocation as he's coming on up. Michael, come on up. He's in his 6th year of college football at Wake Forest. He has a degree in communications in 22. He's got a master's in project management in 23 through the School of Professional Studies out of Charlotte. And he's now working on his digital marketing degree certificate. So that'd be 3 Wake Forest degrees. He's still playing football. And I tell you what, he got in at the Virginia Tech game and really gave us a spark. Had a tough injury at that game and then came back to start, of all places, Notre Dame. Pretty tough place to get your start. But that Syracuse game was the best game I've seen him play, the last game of the year. He did an amazing job. He's truly someone that makes our community better. He's a big member of the FCA. And I tell you, I've got a single daughter, Spencer, who graduated in 22. And so, I'd be happy to give you our phone number if you're single. Michael, thanks for being here, and good luck this year.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to pray for us, so if you'd bow your heads with me. Lord, we just want to exalt you above all else. I just want to thank you for the relationships that you've established in this room, for the relationships that you are going to establish, Lord. And I just thank you for the generosity in this room of the alumni and the donors, Lord. I just thank you that they've given us the gift of being able to play the sport that we love. And I pray with that gift we would honor you totally, Lord, that your will would be done in our lives and your kingdom would come in Wake Athletics, Lord. So we praise you and exalt you. I pray you would bless this time, bless the conversations, bless this food to our body, that we may do your will, Lord, and bless the hands that prepared it. We love you so much. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Awesome. Great job, Michael. So it's time to eat, right? At your table, there's some prompting questions to have discussion with your athletes and the donors. So enjoy your brunch, and we'll have more program after lunch.
D. Seven. Dr. Carol Guth, 7. Well done. What year was the Legacy Federal Credit Union football stadium built? Carl, everybody's pointing to you. 68. Wonderful. That was negative 15. All right. What was Wake Forest known as before they were the Demon Deacons? The Baptist or the Tigers? A little bit of an identity issue here, but we got it figured out. How many student athletes were in the first class at Wake Forest in 1834? 17? Not 14 either. 16. 16 in the first class. All right. One more on the sheet and then one more surprise one. How many total bowl games has Wake Forest been to in the history of the football program? $17. All right. That had to be Noel Shepard. Yeah, right. Hey, well done. All right, y'all, and in a more serious, somewhat serious note, who is this room named after? Norman Sneed, a great Demon Deacon who we unfortunately lost this year, but has brought so much joy to so many Wake Foresters for so long, and have been a very, very special part of this Wake Forest community. Y'all, it's my honor to bring up our panelists to have a little bit of a chat and conversation here for some of the rest of this session. And I'd love to start with Kaya Hanks, a 2026 soon-to-be graduate on the women's soccer team. By the end of her second fall at Wake Forest, Kaya played in 36 games for the Deacs, started 34 of those, a ton of accolades to recognize her play on the field. Freshman season, she was All-ACC freshman team honors, All-ACC honor roll. By her second year, career high of 16 points for the Deacs, and led the Deacs in so many ways on and off the field. Kaya comes to us from
Hawaii.
Hawaii. I've never been, but we'll work on that. And she is on the Molly and Jeb Burns Joel Athletic Endowment Scholarship. Kaya, thank you for being here. I'd also like to bring up David Weaver, a 2010 grad of Wake Forest, a men's basketball alum. Dave, is that some of your family here?
Yes, sir. I got my mom, got my stepdad, Mr. James.
Thank you all so much. David was born and raised in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Watch out, Western North Carolina. We're coming for you on this panel. He was an ACC Scholar Athlete, recipient of the Murray Greason and Skip Prosser Awards. He helped the Deacs get to a #1 ranking in the AP polls during his time here. He was a recipient of the Don D. Leonard Athletic Scholarship and the Schwartz Family Men's Basketball Scholarships. David had a great career playing overseas for almost 11 years. Started his family through his time in those countries. Won a bunch of championships and a ton of awards. He's come back to North Carolina near the Charlotte area and works for MasterCard. And he pretty much offered any student athlete here graduating a job before the end of the day. So, or anybody else in the room for that matter. He's got a lot of flexibility. He's doing great. David, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bishop.
I'd love to bring up NBA graduate Bruce Ballard. Upon graduating from Wake with a master's degree in business, Bruce worked for 20 years at Lowe's Company in a number of departments and areas. He went on to acquire AMS, American Merchandise Specialists, and he continues to serve as chairman and CEO after restructuring the company to be 100% employee-owned back in 2019. Bruce and his wife of 8 years, it'll be 18 before you know it, Bruce, Heather, reside in Mooresville, North Carolina. Bruce serves as our Deacon Club Board of Directors Vice President, has been a loyal Deacon, and has found numerous ways to support Wake Forest and Wake Forest athletics through his time as an alum. Bruce, thank you for being here. Last but not least, Janice Story, a 1975 graduate and women's tennis student athlete that she will debate, but we will not. She played women's tennis at Wake Forest. Janice, welcome. Born and raised in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, graduated from Wake Forest in 1975 with a physical education, now known as health and exercise science degree. She and Ed moved to Atlanta in 1978. You could fact check us later, by the way. She earned an MBA in finance at Emory. After working in the investments for Metropolitan Life, she gave up corporate life to become a full-time mom and followed her 3 kids all over the U.S. as a soccer team manager. Janice serves as a member of the University Board of Trustees and has an athletic scholarship that is in her family's name that she has come to enjoy for many, many years. Janice, thank you. Kai, we're going to start with you. How did you find Wake Forest, other than assuming you started with W opposed to A when you were looking through college admission books?
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna apologize ahead of time to everybody. I'm a little nervous. But I think the things that I was really looking for when I was searching for colleges was competitive academics and dedicated athletics. But some of the things that I valued in my college search was friendship, a family atmosphere, and a close-knit community. And I remember the first time I felt those values in relation to Wake was when I was first contacted by Brittany Cameron. Shout out B-Cam, she's our associate head coach. We just immediately got along, I think, because we both had so many goals and were super determined to achieve them. But I think the best part of our interaction was that it just felt like home. It just gave me a sense of home. And when I came on my official visit, I got that sense of home once again. Not just by the way Wake looks. I know we all love the brick here. I personally love it a lot. But also the people. The people that I knew, I was able to meet the team, but the people that I didn't know as well. I was super excited, but I also felt like a sort of peace and steadiness being here. And so I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get that feeling anywhere else.
Kai, a little bit earlier when we were chatting, you talked a bit about like the community and how it all comes about from back home and how you felt that here. Could you elaborate a little bit on that for the room of even more so why that connection just happened at Wake Forest?
Yeah, so back at home, one of the things that everyone says, you know, at grad parties, at birthday parties, it's just, it takes a village. And so growing up, there's just like, there's hundreds of people that have like contributed to my success or just supported me or have influenced me in some way to get, to help me get to where I am now. And so for me, it was super relieving to come here and know that that wasn't just gone. It didn't just end. Wake Forest is my village now, and Wake Forest is all of our villages. Sorry. But there's so many relationships that we've all made and so many relationships that we have yet to make. And I just feel that all of them are going to be pieces to a puzzle that are going to be like create the greatest stories of our lives. And I don't know, I don't think I can really put into words like the beauty of this village and like how charming it is to really grow this community.
It's like poetry, everybody. I think we could all admit that that's wonderful. Kai, thank you for sharing. Bruce, this question for you as a member of the Deacon Club Board of Directors. You've been so intentional on a committee we call 2040, which is when we hope to fully endow our athletic aid from an endowment and scholarship standpoint. More importantly, it's when half the Deacon Club staff will have children at Wake Forest. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of by then. But maybe walk us through what you've learned through that experience of understanding the importance of it and why we needed to put emphasis on it to, 5 to 6 years later, be in a room of 450 people.
Thank you, Mike. I would say the first thing I learned as I worked on the 2040 committee, led by my friend Alan Ashworth, the first thing I learned was how amazing our student athletes have to be to play and study at this school, right? There's not a wealth of scholarship money available. Would you say, Alan, it was $35 million just a few years ago? I think our scholarship needs in 2040 are $640 million to fully endow the athletic program. So we are a small school with a small donor base, and our donor base is extraordinarily generous. But to be a student athlete here, you've got to be a smart kid. You've got to be really good at what you do, and you've got to be good enough to earn some academic scholarship money in addition to what we can do on the athletic side. So that really enlightened me, Mike, as to how much work we need to do to better equip the athletic endowment at Wake Forest, with the generosity of the people in this room and the extended 2.7 million fans we know we have out there.
We want their names, by the way, all 2.7 million. I want to see the list. Bruce, I'll share the other thing that I know that you were a part of was creating this 1-to-1 ratio concept, which is really an attainable goal for us, in the short term, and maybe just a little bit of the insight behind where that came from, because we as a staff talk about that all the time and share that with our students.
Every one of us in this room who's enjoyed the personal connections, Clay and I have had a great conversation today about what his aspirations are for leaving Wake Forest sometime this summer, and it's going to be sad when you leave. It's gonna be sad for us to see you go, but you know, all of these connections matter for the long haul. And I know I've already made some offers to Clay today to try to help him with some of the things he's trying to do professionally when he leaves here. He's got a very clear vision of where he wants to go with his professional career outside of golf. And that's inspiring to me. I was never as good at golf as Clay is, or as the folks that play for Coach Haas and Coach Llewellyn. Rachel's here today. But golf is something that creates community over time in business. And you will achieve everything that Wake Forest has set you out to achieve because of your love for golf and your love for this school. So I can't be more proud to be your sponsor.
That's awesome, Bruce. Thank you. Bruce, you just mentioned the relationships are long-lasting and the impact is forever in so many ways. Janice, your family established a scholarship approximately 20 or so years ago. Maybe share what it was like when you heard about that and how that came to be. But in addition, a couple evenings ago, you had dinner with recent graduate Luisa Fernandez, who was on your scholarship, women's tennis student athlete. And we'd love to hear about that experience as well.
Yes, I was invited to join the Board of Trustees in around 2000. My father was also on the board, and we were only the second father-daughter combination that the board has had, and I think since then. And at a meeting, he stood up in 2002 and said, "I just gave a scholarship in your name." And I was like, "What?" I mean, I was just totally surprised and overwhelmed because I had no idea. Some of you in this room knew my dad, and he could not keep a secret. How he did that was a wonder. But it showed me that, you know, he was proud of me, and that felt wonderful because I had come to Wake Forest back in 1972 and was on the first tennis team after Title IX was brought into legislation. And nothing compared to the athletes today, but it made me feel a part of Wake Forest. And I've continued to grow that scholarship, and maybe one day I'll get to the full scholarship level. We'll see.
Where'd you park? We'll follow you to the car, Janice. We want to make sure we have that conversation today.
But it was just such a true loving gift from my father, who grew up with an 11th grade education and made it on his own. And I was able, to answer your other question, Mike, to meet with Luisa Fernandez, who was a 17 graduate and played on the tennis team here. And when I told her some of the lack of scholarships and money that the athletic department had for women back in the early 70s, she was just flabbergasted and speechless. We had no scholarships. We had to drive ourselves to the games, to the matches. We had no equipment given to us. We had one water bottle issued by the athletic department, and I think a few dozen tennis balls. So we were. It was scarce. It was all very much up to us. But Luisa was just a delight to talk to. She's gone on to physical therapy school. She is now a therapist here and working in an entity using her Spanish. She's from Mexico, and helping kids here in Winston-Salem. And it was, is that my cutoff?
That's just Paul Kennedy, everybody. Okay.
Anyway, it proved to me that Wake Forest does produce great students and great student athletes, and I hope that's something that never changes.
Would you have thought 20 plus years later, do you think your dad would have felt this impact and this experience you had? Do you think that was on his mind when he did that in your honor?
I think so. I really do. He was, so supportive. In fact, I always grew up thinking I'd go to that school down the road that has kind of a light blue and white color scheme. And growing up in Wilkesboro, I was the youngest child, and he just said, why don't you go a little closer to home, Wake Forest? And if you want to, you can transfer after 2 years if you want the bigger kind of college. And needless to say, I came and fell in love with it that first year. And I think he was my biggest supporter.
We are so thankful for that. David, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to since graduation. We alluded to it before, and some things that you've maybe learned along the way as what I would consider us still recent grads.
Let's say I learned a lot while I was here at Wake, but I learned a lot after leaving. Wake Forest granted me the opportunity to, play basketball at a high level, and of course you want to have aspirations playing in the NBA, but it also gave me a great chance to go further my career overseas. So upon completion, graduation here at Wake, I got a chance to go start my career in Greece and played 11 years over there, 11 seasons, signed 14 contracts, and you're probably wondering the math doesn't add up. Yes, sometimes you get traded, sometimes you get fired, but
It's a life lesson.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those things too. You have to learn how to handle adversity, and even you learn those lessons here at Wake Forest as well. And I got a chance to play and live in 9 different countries, but I got a chance to visit over 25. So, it all starts here at Wake Forest though, because of people like you that donate and be able to provide scholarships to people like me. It granted me the opportunity to go out here and see the world. I'm from Black Mountain, North Carolina, right down the road here in small town, and there's a lot of people that don't make it out of there, and I was blessed to be 6'10" and kind of athletic and could play a little bit of basketball, but, I had a chance to come here to a beautiful university like Wake Forest to actually grow and, become, a young man at that time, and then learn the life lessons and be groomed to know how to become a better man once you leave. So, I'm grateful for that opportunity to come here, and it gave me a chance to go to Europe. And along that journey, I did a chance to meet my wife while I was playing. So, I give all the credit back to Wake Forest. I have a little bit of game in talking to my wife there, but
Like a comm class in there or
I think
something?
I learned that here too. Communications. Yes, I was a communication major. Even though the first thing that came out of my mouth when I met my wife was, "Do you speak English?" And thank God she said yes. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of what I've been up to now. But as some of the student athletes are in the room here, athletics will come to a close, whether you realize it or not. For me, it did, and whether it's injury or just the industry kind of telling you to hang them up. But sometimes you just have a shift in your aspirations of what you want to do. For me, it was more so I wanted to be more around my family, even though I did have family with me. I think it's a brutal business to be a part of, but I knew that I was at peace with stepping away from basketball because I had a Wake Forest education and a Wake Forest alumni and donor and engagement and group of people that I can lean on to help me in my next professional arena. So yep.
Share a little bit about, if you don't mind, what that next professional arena has been.
For me, it's full circle for me because I remember sitting there in Italy with my wife, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to play next year?" And I said, "I think so, but then she abruptly stopped me and said, well, next time I don't know if we're going to pack up the kids and go." So immediately, like for me, it's like, "Hey, what do you got to do? You got to start laying the foundation for what you want to do afterwards." So I immediately started getting on the phones. I started reaching out to people, and some of the first contacts I had was people here in our development office here, people on campus wanting to revamp my resume, and I spent a lot of time talking with Dwight Lewis, who was very influential while I was here, but somebody that picked up on the first ring and said, "Hey, how can I help?" And ultimately, LinkedIn is a beautiful platform, and I reached out and I saw we have a Wake Forest alumni page, and I saw a job posting there that was some vice president job I was not qualified to get. But I did reach out, and lo and behold, the person that was hiring for that position was Demon Deacon, and lucky me, and sent out a resume that was not qualified, and he gave me a call the next day, and we didn't talk about anything related to the job. We talked about basketball. We talked about our experiences here at Wake Forest. And, you know, he graduated a little bit before me, but, you know, we just talked about how the values were the same. And I must have said something right. Maybe that's that communications degree. But he said, you know what, I can't give you this job, but let me tell people about your character, tell people about your experiences, and let's see what happens. And then about 2 or 3 months later, after I thought that conversation was dead, my phone rang. We have an opportunity. So Wake Forest opened up a door for me to get out of Black Mountain, but it also gave me an opportunity to come back to the Triad and you know, the Charlotte area. So yeah, full circle for me.
David, that's great. And for our student athletes in the room, there's just so much power in this connectivity that exists. So what starts today at your table could go and be a 20, 30 plus year relationship. And that's what our intention is today, right? To be reminded of that. Kai, for you, the Burns Joel Athletic Scholarship, what has that meant to your family? And the more tears you get, I promise you, it'll be good for you after. So.
Well, the Burns Joel Scholarship means a lot to me. It meant a lot to me before I met the Burns family, but it means even more now that I've been able to build a friendship with them. You know, I was able to go to dinner with them recently. Unfortunately, they weren't able to be here today, but I'm grateful for Liza and Jim for coming to support. I went to dinner with them, and they were able to share with me their experiences at Wake and their passion for giving back to the community. And it was just a lot of fun. I have Molly on Instagram, and I have her phone number. We keep in touch. Jeb and I, we share a common interest in political science. So we were able to chat about some things that we found intriguing and meaningful. Yeah, I think it means a lot to me, especially knowing that not too long ago we were complete strangers. And it means a lot to my family, just knowing that they are so far away, but there are people that are out here looking after me and willing to build that friendship with me.
Molly and Jeb were really intentional about making sure people were at your table. Like, I can't be alone today. We're going to find people. So thank you all for joining. David, to you, being on the Don Leonard Basketball Scholarship and the Swartz Family Athletic Scholarship, you have your family here today. You know, what did it mean to you then versus what does it mean to you now?
Oh, it means everything, you know, to be able to come to a university like this, you know, and, you know, be able to play basketball, you know, in this wonderful athletic program here. I think it means a lot to not just myself, but my family, because being on scholarship here, you know, you think the common phrase you always hear out here in the world is, you know, free ride. Well, it's not free, you know, it's not free. And, you know, people are putting up their hard-earned dollars for you, to people that sometimes they don't even know personally, to give them an opportunity. And ultimately, for families who probably would not be able to come to a Wake Forest like this, you know, to a university like this, a chance for them to go and earn an education, learn life experiences. So, you know, for me, I know we're extremely, you know, thankful for the Leonard and Swartz family to, you know, to be so generous. And we're thankful to all you guys, you know, to be so generous and to help out, you know, give these scholarships to these student athletes, because you probably heard me say it earlier, Pitch, but like, we can attach, you know, dollar amounts to tuition and, you know, things that you might purchase and things, but it's very difficult to attach a dollar amount or a donation amount to the impact that you have on people's lives. And not just in the immediate term here at Wake Forest, yeah, but later down in life. I'm still a beneficiary of that scholarship many years later. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Janice, you mentioned being a part of the women's tennis program at the start of Title IX. Your leadership has continued to evolve and been impactful as a member of the trustees. What does Wake Forest look like to you over that span of time? And I know you're aware of the In Her Wake effort and initiative, which has a scholarship component to it. I'd love to just hear, as a university leader, you know, what this all kind of means to you today.
I thought these questions were going to be easy.
Me too.
Yeah.
We had a few edits.
You're digging into my heart here because, like I said, I came to Wake Forest thinking, I'll here for 2 years and I'm gone. And it's just It's a magical place. It's a place that I call home. It's a place for young men and women to learn more about life, not just their sport, but to learn time management, to learn values. And the scholarship to me is so vital to allow everyone equal opportunity to experience Wake Forest. I can tell you that one of the things my father used to say was, everyone deserves to have a good education and to do well, he said, and once you get it, no one can take it away from you. And that's how I kind of view, endowing scholarships or giving to the Deacon Club and the women's athletic department, especially since I was here in the early 70s, and there weren't very many women's sports, and you didn't see women playing sports as much here. So I think it's a tremendous thing. I thank all of you out here in the audience that have endowed scholarship. And if you're thinking about it and you want to know, should I do it or not, give me a call. I can talk your ear off about how many reasons there are to do this. It's a pleasure. I am so happy to be associated with this university and in any facet, and looking for a victory this afternoon.
And I know we need to get over to the Joel, but Janice, thank you for that. There's no incentive program for referrals, but we can think through one if you get a few people signed up. Kaya, this is back to you as we kind of come to a close. But by the way, you can stay at Wake Forest as long as you want, right? But upon graduation, can you share with the room what your aspirations are and what you hope to do?
Great question. So plan A is to become a professional soccer player. I like to think that I'm on the right track for that. But plan B would be to go to law school. And I'm hoping to be able to do either one of them. I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to be pulling for you either way, both ways. And
Wake's
excited to see.
got a great law school,
Yes, they do.
That actually, how much eligibility do we have? Can we kind of pull a few extra years? I'm sure. David, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but what does this day mean to you, being in this room, also knowing what we're all going to go get to do here in about an hour and a half or so? Share about what that moment is like and why that support is just so special.
This sport is really special. Listen to everybody talk, just, up here in the panel and even out here in the audience. You hear the word home a lot. And I think you hear family a lot. And if someone just says it randomly, you just, you don't think nothing of it. But you hear it a lot when you talk about Wake Forest. And it means a lot to me. You come home. And to be able to, home means there's family members there, people that you care about, people that you have relationships with, and you look forward to go there most times, and knowing that we're about to go across the street here and go to my basketball home, where I would give everything I got to go out there and dribble that basketball for the Deeks one more time.
We might like to see that, to be honest.
But I would love to go out there and, support my guys, but, to do it from the stands now, it means the world, and to see the transformation of our basketball program over the last few years and the amount of investment we've dumped into facilities to help these guys become better student athletes and give them more resources. It's eye-opening, it's transformational, it's inspiring to me, and it means a lot to be able to go over there and beat up on that team in blue. I won't mention their name, but yeah.
Fair enough. Bruce, as we close this out, and thank you to our panel again. Bruce, we'd love for you to just share some parting words with folks in the room who are thinking about this athletic endowment process, who are thinking about how do I start a relationship with Wake Forest as future president of Deacon Club Board. Would love to just hear what you're hearing from the inside and what you hope to inspire people with.
Okay. First of all, as my colleague Janice just said, anybody that wants to call me and talk about this experience, please do so. I'll make sure you have my contact, and I know Janice will make sure the Deacon Club makes yours available as well. Let's get to one-to-one. In Her Wake is going to provide a great opportunity for us to do that. 1-to-1 is what you're seeing in this room. We just have a little further to go. That's doable this year and certainly on the front end of this campaign. So let's get after, in her wake, let's get after all that is women's athletics, and let's win more national championships like Coach Llewellyn just did for us this past year. It is right there for the taking. Competition is going to get even more intense with the league changing the way that it has. Stanford is in our competitive set now, as is Cal, as is SMU. Those schools have phenomenal student athletes, and they're very well endowed. We've got our hands full. But we are on the right track vector of momentum because of everybody in this room and the great leadership team, Barry and Paul and Alan and the entire team, Pish, every one of you, the developers here are working tirelessly to make you feel comfortable investing in this program. So embrace that. Embrace what our coaches, like Coach Averill, so passionately talked to us about yesterday. Embrace their vision for these young student athletes and what they're trying to do for them professionally in the workplace. It's the best thing you can do with your money. That's the way we need to think about it. And I know all of us in this room are already there, but some may be on the tipping point of trying to get there. It's an easy decision once you really process the opportunity that these student athletes are showcasing every single day.
Y'all, round of applause for our panelists.
Hey, Pish. I was wondering if you guys could help me out a little bit here on this day. Maybe another round of applause for a very special lady in my life, my mother. Today's her birthday.
All right.
And just wanted to say I love you, Mama. And I can't think of a much better gift for us to go out there and beat up on the Blue Devils today, get a win. So happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday.
So we should sing.
You can take them with you. Y'all, this has been such a special morning, and I know we have a great day still ahead of us. I think I saw John Curry in a sweatshirt. Is that right? It is my pleasure to bring up, wow. We all wore ties today because we thought you were going to be suited up. And here you are. That's a sweatshirt. John, you mic'd up? You ready to go?
I think I'm mic'd up. Am I mic'd up?
We are grateful for our panelists, for everyone in this room. A moving and touching day. More great Wake Forest relationships to come. John.
Excuse me.
How about those Wake Forest Demon Deacons? All right. Don't publish this photo. All right. So you might have heard something in the last week or in the last couple days or the last year about all the challenges and problems of college athletics and higher education, right? Anybody heard something like that? How it's not going to work out? Wake's lost. These scholarships don't mean anything, right? It's all about the money. It's all transactional. Everybody heard some of that, right? And what you just heard, you can advance this slide thing, somebody. All right, and what you just heard is why this staff, like Mike Piscatelli and this whole group, spends so much time out on the road visiting with you, sharing these stories of these student athletes that you are empowering and providing lifetime and life-changing opportunities for. And so, I see Reverend Strawn over here. I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? But this group, when you're going out, wherever you're going, this is still a place. This is still a place where it's not a transaction. This is still a place where it's a lifetime affiliation. This is still a place where our student athletes in this room, many of whom are going to play professional athletics, And that may be their biggest priority right now in their life. And that's okay. But every team had a 3.0 GPA in the fall, right? Our men's basketball team, that'll play today had a 3.2 team GPA in the fall, right? And Donovan knows that sometimes it doesn't feel that cool right now, but someday he'll look back on it and he'll be really glad, right? Just like all of our kids and college students that are in our lives. So in this time of unprecedented disruption in college athletics, I don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. But I know that Wake Forest is going to be in the college athletics enterprise. I don't think we're going out of the women's golf business anytime soon. Right, Coach Daly? Right? Okay. And I don't think we're going out of the baseball business or the football business or the field hockey business anytime soon. And your support in continuing to prioritize the things that are most important is incredibly meaningful, and even more important now for a school like Wake Forest to continue to set an example of how we can win a bunch of games and put people from all over our community in these seats and bring people together in this quadrant like nothing else does in this community, and have student athletes like the ones you've heard from and you see around you continue to go out and represent this university and live in the pro humanitate spirit. Now, there's 5 things up on this screen, and there's a card on your table. So that's your elevator speech. Put it in your pocket. And when somebody says, why Wake Forest? These are your 5 things. National University, comprehensive university, we got that. Elite athletics performance, we currently have 2 teams ranked in number 1 in the country. We got another one ranked number 3, and we got another one that's going to set an all-time attendance record here against Duke in a couple hours, right? We got 2.7 million fans. Fastest growing fan base in the Power 5. We're right in the middle of the best state in the union. The number 1 state for business, according to CNBC, right? Okay? And then we've got aligned leadership. Under President Winty's leadership and our Board of Trustees, I want to recognize the chair of the Trustee Athletics Committee, Mike Smith, who was sitting right in front of me. There he is, right there. We've got great leadership, and we got great leadership alignment with the community. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Melissa Combs, outside, told me that this was the best event she'd ever been to, so that put a lot of pressure on me. The only thing I could do was mess it up. So I will conclude my remarks. It's Tie-Dye Nation. Go Deeks. And you are dismissed.